Welcome to the Black Financial Channel. That's theblackfinancialchannel.com. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and I'm your friendly neighborhood finance professor. Good morning, everybody. It's very early in the morning, and I thought that I would start your day off with some good financial information that will help you get richer. That's our goal. Our goal on this platform is to make you richer, smarter, and happier. And so as you come into the chat, please make sure you hit the thumbs up button. Also, shout out the city you're from, and let me know that you're B1. B1 is Black first. There's nothing wrong with loving your people. Let's get to it. Let's get it cracking. How many of you own stock? Give me a yes in the chat if you own stock. I want to ask this question more regularly because I want to make sure you're getting in the habit of owning stock. And then I'm going to start asking you to go to the next level, which is buying stock consistently every single week or at least every single month. How many of you own stock? Give me a yes in the chat if you own stock. Yoshika, good to see you, Yoshika. I see her in here every morning. El Haj, good to see you, brother. Are anybody? Okay, yeses. I'm seeing some yeses. Good. Let's see here. Genevieve says yes. Kenny D. Adrian, yes. Akila, yes. Justin, yes. Good. Yes. All the investors, shout yourselves out. And if you're not an investor yet, don't be scared. Just go to my website, boycewatkins.com. There's something that is totally free. It's called the $5 a day investing plan. This is the master plan that's going to get your family wealthy, but it's going to take a couple of decades, though. So you're really doing this for your children or your grandchildren. And I know that that's hard to do. Some people promote selfishness. They think that all that matters is you and what you got and how comfortable your life is. Well, I don't live in that world. I live in a world where we care about our children. So if you care about your damn kids or care about your grandkids or care about somebody else's kids, that's also part of the village. Put a yes in the chat if you care about other people besides yourself. I think that's really important. You cannot invest unless you understand the fundamental rule of investing, one of the most fundamental rules, which is that investing is a team sport. Family wealth is typically greater than individual wealth. Most wealthy people in our world tend to have relatives who gave a damn enough about them to invest for them while they were young. So, or even before they were born. So do that. My wife, in fact, let me just tell you this before I get into Disney and Netflix stock. Those are the two stocks I'm going to talk about today. And I'm going to give you my personal opinion on whether or not I would buy these stocks right now. My wife had a grandfather in the 1940s who was a chemist at the University of Chicago. And while he was there, he bought some bonds for World War II. Literally some World War II bonds. And he also, check this out, y'all, pay attention now. This is generational wealth. This is what it looks like. Because a lot of people think my wife married me because I was rich, and I was rich, but my wife was rich too. So that's a myth. So never believe the crap you hear on the internet because people will just make stuff up and then act like it's truth. But anyway, so what her grandfather did that was so brilliant, so smart, so just had so much foresight because he was a real man. He wasn't no punk. He was a real man back when they built men different. He bought some World War II bonds for his family, and he bought them for his grandchildren and his great-grandchildren back in 1942. And then the other thing he did was he went to the south side of Chicago and he bought a building. And the building probably cost him less than $5,000. Now, years later, three generations later, he has had several relatives who never ever had to pay rent because they were able to live in that building. That's the first thing that he did, starting back in 1942. He had that master plan. The other thing is that building that cost him less than $5,000 would probably cost almost $1 million today. Third, when my wife bought her first house, she was able to use money from those savings bonds that he bought during World War II. Now, tell me that's not the coolest thing ever. Tell me that's not gangster as hell to plan for your grandkids so your grandkids can have houses and buildings and charge people rent because of something that you did in 1942. That's what you call foresight. That's what you call generational wealth. That's what you call real manhood. That's what you call masculinity. That's what you call taking care of your own. But it's not even just a masculine thing. It's also just a thing that's love. That's love. The best love you can show for family is to invest for them, right? So he did that. And so I want to give a shout out to him because I think that that's an important story for us to hear because we hear too many stories of men who didn't do their job and who left the family a GoFundMe account and left a bunch of debt and left a bunch of problems and babies, mamas, and children that ain't nobody never heard of and all this other chaos. That ain't part of being black. So never let anybody make you think that irresponsibility is black culture. That's not our culture. Responsibility and preparation, that is our culture. That's how we became great. So anyway, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. This is the Black Financial Channel, theblackfinancialchannel.com. So check in every day. We go live a lot and we talk all about financial stuff all day long. I have my doctorates in finance. I love to teach you. Also, my book is called The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. It's an Amazon bestseller. Feel free to grab a copy there. All right. So how many of you, give me a yes, how many of you think Disney would be a good investment? How many of you like Disney as a stock? I'm gonna give you an assessment of Disney, and I'm gonna just tell you like this. I'm gonna give you a foreshadow. The assessment of Disney has changed. If you like Disney, and I've always liked Disney, I've always felt like Disney was just a smart company that knew how to make money. But Disney, unfortunately, according to many analysts, has become a little bit of a hot ghetto mess. They've kind of gotten into some crazy stuff. Like they're fighting right now with the governor of Florida. They're having trouble making money from their parks, at least at the level that people expected. Disney Plus, their streaming service, whether you know it or not, was losing money hand over fist, losing money like crazy because all they were trying to do was grow and they weren't really thinking about profitability. Now suddenly profitability matters again. And so there's an analyst here from KeyBank, and this is just one analyst. This is not the whole world, but this is one analyst who basically says that Disney is not the investment that it used to be. And I'm going to give you the caveats on this in a minute, but for now, what I'm going to do is read to you some of what he's saying, and then give you kind of the Dr. Boyce breakdown on this. Somebody said, "Go woke, go broke." Yeah, I'm agree. I'm gonna tell you that too. I think that whole wokeness, companies are starting to move away from that. I think what was it? Was it Google? I think Google was going to do a drag queen event or something, and basically they ended up canceling the event because the employees at Google, you're used to the more liberal employees, forming the petitions and standing up against certain things or whatever. Well, in this case, it was the Christian employees who said, what the hell, what does a drag queen have to do with what we're doing here at Google? I don't necessarily feel comfortable watching a show with drag queens or having my kids read to by drag queens. No disrespect. If you're in that category, if you're trans, LGBT, I don't care. Black first. I want you to remember that. But still, it's sort of like companies started getting to the point where they were picking sides in politics. And they always say that if you want to avoid conflict, particularly with family, friends, or if you're doing business, avoid politics and religion. Just don't talk about it. Or if you do talk about it, just know you're going into some dangerous territory. So just be really, really careful about that. Now, somebody says, you told me to buy Disney stock 4 months ago. I obeyed. And now this. Yeah, things change, D-Zoom. I want you to know that. That's really important to understand. I liked Disney months ago. I did. Disney was one of my favorite investments. And the thing about investing that you should understand is that the most important variable in investing, one of the most important variables in investing is information. And one of the things about being a good investor is that you have to constantly adjust to new information. Think of it like a basketball game. If we're up by 20 points, then we're going to play with one strategy. But if we're suddenly down by 5 points, we're going to have to shift our strategy. You can't say, well, because I chose to play this way when we were 5 minutes into the game, I'm going to keep playing the same way, 25 minutes into the game. No, those are two different scenarios. Or you can't say, well, because we played a certain way when the big man was on the floor, we're going to keep playing that way even when the little guys are on the floor. You have to be able to adjust. You have to be flexible. So what I'm saying is not that Disney is a bad company. Let's be clear. I'm not saying that Disney is falling apart or that they're garbage. What I'm saying is that at the current valuations, KeyBank is saying that Disney would not be a good investment. A good company does not make a good investment. A bad company does not make a bad investment. And a good company sometimes can be your worst investment, and a bad company could be your best investment. One of the companies I made the most money from this week, I think, was a crappy company, Virgin Galactic. Their stock has been just garbage for a very long time. Well, guess what? If you keep reducing the price of a stock and it drops and it drops and it drops and it drops, well, then sometimes garbage can turn into filet mignon. Garbage can turn into a gourmet meal. Y'all understand what I'm saying? So some of these stocks turn into gourmet garbage because the price kept dropping and dropping and dropping to the point where it went too low. Like, think about it. What if I told you I want to sell you a 2012 Mercedes, and you say, "Well, how much is it?" And I say, "Oh, it's going to be $800,000." You're gonna be like, "Oh, hell no, I'm not." Would y'all buy that car? Give me a yes or no. Would you buy that car if I said I got a 2012 Mercedes? I'll sell it to you for $800,000, and let's say it's not an antique or anything like that. It's just a regular old car to get you from point A to point B, but it's a Benz, and the price is gonna be 800 grand. Would you buy that car? Yes or no? Yes or no? Answer that question. This is a good investment lesson as we talk about Netflix and Disney. No. Thank you, Juiced Up Reese. Every time I see you in there, Juiced Up Reese, I'm gonna say your name because Juiced Up Reese is one of my favorite people on earth. You're literally keeping us alive. We have your juice in our refrigerator and we're like drinking it every day. Anyway, all right. So no, okay. So what if I said, all right, okay, fine. You're driving a hard bargain. I'll drop the price to 400,000. I'll cut it in half. Would you buy my 2012 Mercedes for $400,000? Yes or no? Answer in the chat so we can make this point. And by the way, if you're on Spotify, this podcast is on Spotify, so you can look up Boyce Watkins on Spotify. You can find it. Okay, no, you wouldn't, right? So what if I kept going down? Then I go to 100,000, and then let's say I go to 50,000, and then let's say I get down. And I'm desperate, and I really just reveal, you know what? I've got this secret drug addiction, and I need money for my next hit of crack. So I'll sell you my 2012 Mercedes for $1,000. Would you buy it then? Would you buy that 2012 Mercedes for $1,000? Yes or no? Let's say it runs fine. There's no major engine issues. You had a mechanic look at it. The mechanic said, "Oh, this car runs good." Is that car a good deal? Yes, it is a very good deal now. It's a very good deal. And so the point that I'm making here is that you have to understand that a good investment in many cases can go from being a horrible deal to becoming a great deal if you simply change the price. Or it can go from being a great deal to a terrible deal if you change the price. Nvidia was all the rage in the AI space. Everybody was talking about how Nvidia was just killing the AI game. They have chips that nobody else can make. They're on top of AI. So if you're buying Nvidia, that's cool. But the problem is that the more people want to buy it, the more the price is going up. My Nvidia stock damn near doubled in the last year. So at what point does Nvidia go from being a great buy to being a bad buy? At what point are you overpaying for that stock? So what I would say to you is that that's kind of what happened with Disney a little bit. Disney used to be a good buy. It used to be a good investment. But now there are people that are saying, things have changed with Disney, and their prospects have shifted. Their risk level has shifted. Their price has shifted. So now Disney went from being a good buy to a bad buy. Just remember that, just so in case you want to know, 9 times out of 10, if I ask you if you'd want to buy something, if someone says, would you like to buy this really nice car, this really nice house, or most financial questions, do they give you a yes or no answer for? The answer usually isn't yes or no. The answer is usually it depends. If someone asks you if you'd be willing to make an investment and you don't know the price, then you cannot answer that question. You cannot answer that question. If I say I've got the most beautiful car in the world, it has chrome wheels and leather seats and a V8 engine, and it goes from 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. Do you want to buy that car? You'd be a damn fool if you say yes, I do want to buy that car. No, you're not supposed to do that. What you're supposed to say is, well, how much is it? You're supposed to say, well, it depends. Is it a good deal or a bad deal? So keep that in mind when it comes to investing. One of the biggest things about wealth is buy low, sell high. You don't buy high and sell low. A lot of investors do that. That's why a lot of people get burned in the stock market, and then they do it wrong, and then they go back to their relatives and say, "Oh, don't go in the stock market. Stock market's a scam." Well, maybe the reason it's a scam is because you scammed yourself. You scammed yourself because you were following the crowd. You were engaged in what Professor David Hirschleifer, shout out to David Hirschleifer, one of the best scientists on the planet. He was on my dissertation committee. He calls that the herding effect. He said investors act like sheep. People follow the crowd. Studies show that 80% of all people will follow the crowd, even if the crowd is wrong. So here's what's going to happen. Once the stock market starts to shoot up to the sky, once people start making money like crazy, once y'all are balling out of control, it's going to start hitting the headlines. Once it hits the headlines, your little cousin who always told you not to invest or told you that you were crazy to come to stock market class, they're going to call you up and say, hey, I want to invest too. I bought some blah blah blah, or I bought some Nvidia because I saw Nvidia in a magazine. And but the problem is they're going to be buying Nvidia at a price different from the price you paid for Nvidia. Why? Well, because you bought Nvidia in the dark. You bought Nvidia when nobody wanted it, so you got it cheap. They bought Nvidia in the spotlight. When something's in the spotlight, the price automatically goes too high. It gets overpriced. It's just like dating. You know, in a way, it's like dating. It's very much like dating because all dating is another market, by the way. Dating is a market. I see dating as a market, right? And so basically, think about it. If you, you know, and I've seen this happen, you know, imagine if you meet like, you know, the nicest person on earth and the prettiest girl in the world, and nobody knows about her. She lives in a small town and nobody sees her, then that's going to be a different transaction. You might have a different shot at that woman versus imagine if somebody put her on national TV and then the spotlight's on her and then suddenly she's getting 3,000 emails a day from men that want to propose marriage. That's going to be a different competitive environment for you. So stocks are the same way. If you buy stocks in the dark, when no one else is really talking about the market, when the market is out of style, then you're going to buy stuff cheap. But when the spotlight hits and everybody finds out how much money there is this to be made, then suddenly those prices get out of control. That's when you go from being a buyer to being a seller. When I saw the market going super high, I wasn't trying to buy anything. I was selling. I was selling stock. I was selling options. I sold a ton of money out of my portfolio just so I could go buy some real estate because I told my wife, I said, a lot of these stocks will probably not have the same price level now that or then, excuse me, in a year from now that they have right now. So anyway, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. And also, in case you don't know, we actually have these fun financial flashcards for kids. If you want to teach wealth to your kids, you can go to financialflashcards.com. Like these cards cover real estate. And then also we have some that just cover general finance, stuff like that. So like, for example, if you want your kids to learn about real estate, these cards on one side, it'll have some image with black people doing something business wise and says security deposit. And then it says, what's a security deposit? A security deposit is money that is given to a lender, seller, or landlord as proof of intent and may be used to pay for damages caused by a renter. What is a lease agreement? What is a lease term? What is a short-term rental? What is Section 8? Section 8 is a good way to make money. A lot of y'all own Section 8 property. What is equal opportunity housing? How do you deal with that when you become a landlord? What is comparative market analysis, right? So we have flashcards like this. If you want to take a look at the flashcards, they cover things like credit, entrepreneurship, etc. And you want to get your kids ready, just go to financialflashcards.com. That's financialflashcards.com. All right, so let me jump back into Disney a little bit and talk about why Disney stock went from being good to being bad. So they said here in this article on CNBC that it's difficult to stay bullish on Disney with multiple of its best-known business units facing challenges, according to KeyBank. Analyst Brandon Nispel downgraded shares of the media and entertainment giant to sector weight from overweight. So they just took them down a notch. They didn't say it's a terrible company. They just said, we're not as interested in buying it. They said, we prefer to step aside, which means we're not interested in buying this anymore, or we're going to hold what we already have, acknowledging meaningful uncertainty and wait for further catalysts, as buying the dip has been a losing trade. So what they're basically saying is that Disney has been one of those few companies that during the recent bull run, during the time where all this money is being made, Disney stock really hasn't been moving the way people thought it was going to move. And I'm one of those people that was surprised. I mean, we've had a lot of big winners. You know, C3.ai absolutely killed it, and a few other stocks killed it. But Disney over the last 6 months has only gone up 1.89%. That's not very much considering all the other stocks out here that you could have bought that would have made a ton of money, like say Nvidia. And I was happy. I owned a lot of Nvidia, and they just went crazy. All right. So they said also, Nispel said expectations for the park business appear to be too high. And tough comparable periods are not adequately baked into those expectations. The firm's domestic theme park attendance data was weak for April and May, so people are not going to theme parks. While Disneyland's growth from the 100th anniversary celebration was considered a contraction when compared against the 50th anniversary of Walt Disney World. Nispel anticipates a deceleration in revenue between the third and fourth fiscal quarters, despite consensus expectations implying the opposite. Okay, so they anticipate a deceleration. That does not mean a decline. A deceleration means they still think Disney's revenue is going to grow. They just don't think it's going to grow at the same rate that it was growing before. So it's like a car. If you're in a car and someone says your car is decelerating, that does not mean your car has stopped. That does not mean your car is going backward. It just means your car is moving forward, just not at a rate as fast as before. And that's the tricky part about stock market investing, is that growth is required. This is actually one of the downfalls of capitalism. This is why America is going to struggle in the next 100 years, is because a lot of these capitalist models and these financial markets that we have in this country that are very efficiently designed. I mean, they're really, really powerful markets. The downside is that capitalism sort of feeds into this greed complex that says, look, it's not enough for you to make a lot of money. It's not enough for you to even make more money than you made before. What has to happen is that your rate of growth of that money must meet a certain expectation in order for us to feel good as investors. So they said Disney's direct-to-consumer businesses have also been unable to differentiate its churn compared with peers. So Disney Plus has a lot of churn. Disney Plus and Hulu have both seen subscriber growth stagnate, with net losses expected in the third fiscal quarter. So Disney Plus, even though Disney Plus is killing it, they got all these subscribers, I think over 100 million or something crazy like that. They're not growing. They're kind of stagnant, and you need that growth. Netflix has started growing again, if I'm not mistaken. Paramount Plus, here's what's funny. Paramount Plus was growing, but Paramount Plus lost $1 billion last quarter. And remember, Paramount Plus is struggling. They had to sell BET to Tyler Perry. Now you're going to see Madea movies 24/7, right? So ultimately, growth is not always enough. You have to grow under the right conditions. Profitable growth is what you're really looking for. And so a lot of these movements that companies were making, like, pushing Disney Plus to just get as many subscribers as possible at any cost, it's just not working. They were overspending on content. And I remember feeling this way back in 2018 when I saw that Netflix went out and borrowed $12 billion to make content. I didn't understand. Actually, it was $14 billion. I did not understand why Netflix was borrowing $14 billion to make content when they were already generating, a good, I want to say a good 20 billion a year, maybe. I can't remember what the number was exactly, or like 2 billion a month, with the content that they had. So if you're generating $2 billion a month in revenue, why can't you just buy your content with that money? Why do you need to go borrow another $14 billion? That didn't make any sense to me. And that speaks to something that I want you to understand about the difference between a B1 business model versus capitalism. I really want you to understand this is really important. I've had people come to me and say, I'm so happy that you're teaching black capitalism to black people. And I say, actually, I'm not a capitalist. Or I'll hear people that'll say it in a negative way. Oh, you're a black capitalist. You believe in that black capitalism is going to save everybody. No, because I'm not a capitalist. Because capitalism has a lot of problems. And one of the problems with capitalism is greed. Greed is never good. Greed is one of those emotions. Remember, I tell you all that the emotions you want to avoid as an investor are fear and greed. Scared money don't make money, so fear will keep you broke. Fear, listening to your scared little friends, is going to keep you broke. But greed will destroy you. Greed will eat away at you. Greed will never make you happy. You'll never be able to be content as long as you are a greedy person, because greedy people, they're never happy with what they have. They always want more. They always want to take what the next person has. So they're not collaborative or cooperative. They're always competitive with everything and everybody. Like, think about it. Think about the greedy friends you have, like the greedy girl who gets mad because you're in a happy relationship, or the greedy dude who you can't trust around your woman because he wants your woman in addition to the other 5 women he's dating at the same time. Like, nobody likes greedy people, and greedy people don't even like themselves because they're very unhappy people. They just feel like they're always coming short of what they actually feel like they deserve. Or imagine like the greedy fat kid who just keeps eating and eating. Well, not only is he just a complete jerk to be around, but he's ultimately going to kill himself, right? He's going to get fat, he's obese, he's going to get diabetes, he's going to destroy, he's going to be ruined, right? So balance and moderation is really important. Like, investing really is a Zen meditative process. You have to learn how to stay cool, just stay flat and level, know that the ups and downs are coming, but I'm gonna woosah my way through it, right? Don't go too high with the ups, don't go too far with the downs, or at the very least, and really enjoy the ups. Always have gratitude. My wife is into metaphysics, so maybe that's where I get it from. But I find that gratitude is a powerful tool to allow you to be happy with your life. If you sit down, every time I'm gonna tell you a little secret. This applies to investing too, because you're always investing. Even if you're not investing money, you're always investing in something. If you're in a relationship, you're investing your time and your love and your energy in a person. If you exercise, you're investing your time into, getting into shape and all that, right? So you're always making an investment. You're investing right now by sitting here listening to me, because I could be wasting your time right now, but you trust me. So you're here and you're listening to me because you feel that this investment is going to pay off, and I want to make sure that it does. So one of the things I can tell you is that like whenever I get in a situation where I get tempted to feel sorry for myself, or every time I get in a situation where I get tempted to feel bad about something I don't have, you know what I do? I slap myself out of it. I say, okay, boys, no, no, no. Before we start bitching and complaining about the things we don't have, let's look at all the blessings we do have. Let's count from the bottom down, from the bottom up, as opposed from the to the top down, because that's the problem. That's the curse of ambitious people. If you're an ambitious person, how many of you consider yourselves to be ambitious? I believe most of you probably do. The reason I believe that is because you're here. Ambitious people don't hang out with people like me, because I'm always challenging you and stuff like that. Lazy people, they go and do, I don't know what they do. They're probably asleep right now. But really, so you're ambitious, right? So the curse of being an ambitious person is that you can be tempted to always feel frustrated, always feel mad that you don't have what you want, always feel inadequate. And that's just not healthy. That doesn't feel good. So I encourage you to consider gratitude and just meditate, take a deep breath, 5 or 6 deep breaths. See, y'all can tell I got a therapist, right? Because I love talking to my therapist. Every black person on earth should have a therapist. But anyway, you have that gratitude, and what that does is it reminds you of how blessed you are, so that you can still go on and still push hard and say, yeah, I still want more. I'm still going to go for it. I'm going to go for the top. But at the same time, you're not going at it from a deficit model standpoint. Okay. So avoid fear and greed when it comes to investing. Those two emotions will almost never serve you well. Greed is what causes people to overpay for stocks or take risks that they shouldn't be taking. Fear is what causes people to be afraid to take any risk at all. And if you never take any risk at all, then you're never going to get anything. So keep that in mind. All right. So anyway, do me a favor, thumbs up, share, subscribe. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and my new book is called The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. And so if you'd like to go to Amazon and get a copy, it's a bestseller. The reviews are really good. I know you're going to love it. So feel free to go to Amazon, or also you can go to boycewatkins.com. I have a training called How to Make Money Without Working. So if you're tired of working and you want to know how wealthy people make money without working, I can show you. The lecture is free. I promise you it'll change your life. Just go to boycewatkins.com and take a look. Hit the thumbs up button. So let's finish talking about Disney real quick. And then I'm going to talk about a stock that I actually like based on what I'm reading in the reports. All right. So here it also says here on CNBC that there may be other challenges. There may be more challenges than initially anticipated with moving ESPN to streaming, according to NISPL. So they got a problem with ESPN, they say. KeyBank Research shows interest in sports on linear TV is high, but a willingness to pay for it on streaming is lower. So people want to see sports, but they don't want to pay for it. And I do agree with that. I'm a sports fan. I love watching sports, but I don't know how much I want to pay to watch sports. Like, I don't know if I'd subscribe to your streaming service just so I can watch the NCAA championship, because I've been seeing it for free since I was a little kid. They said movies offer little reprieve, he said, with the structural disinterest in movie theaters compared with before the pandemic, likely to hamper Pixar releases. He noted that Disney Studios business has lost money for the past 2 years when excluding Avatar: The Way of the Water, and should going forward. So he says that Disney Studios are not making money. This is interesting, right? Because Disney's killing it when it comes to making movies. I mean, they put out the Little Mermaid thing, and all the little kids went. I mean, I know our girls felt like they had to see them. It was almost like it was required viewing for every little girl, under the age of 18. Like literally, like they released it on the last day of school. And I don't know, anybody else's kids like feel like they had to go see the Little Mermaid, like it was a homework assignment or something. Yeah, they did such a great job at the marketing. That movie made, I'm sure, well over $1 billion. A lot of their movies make over $1 billion, and the idea that they're not making money is just downright crazy and scary to me, to be honest with you. It's insane. So anyway, one stock that I do like based on the analysis I've read is Netflix. Netflix has been big in my portfolio. Netflix has done extremely well this year. When I look up Netflix stock, Netflix, let me see here. Netflix stock is up so far this year. In the last 6 months, it is up by, drum roll please, 47%. Year to date, let's see. Okay, the last year, it's up 141%. So if you bought Netflix when the price dropped, congratulations to you. You probably made a killing. And it's okay. If you missed it, there will be other opportunities, I'm sure, in the future. It says Netflix should have more steam in its rally thanks to advertisement-enabled tiers, says Citibank. Analyst Jason Bazinet reiterated his buy rating and added a positive catalyst watch ahead of Netflix quarterly earnings report expected in July. So in July, they're going to release their earnings, pointing specifically to the ad tier's success. So Netflix has started offering you a tier where you can watch ads, but you pay a lower price, but you got to watch the ads. And they said that he raised this price target by $100 to $500, which implies an upside of 16%. Right now, you can buy Netflix stock for let me see, what price is it? $429. So they're saying that they think it's going to go to 500. Nothing's guaranteed, but this is what he's saying. And remember, he's just one analyst of many. He says we are more bullish on the likely success of the ad tier. Netflix shares are up 1.8%. The stock has surged more than 45% this year as investors move past 2022 sell-off. Bazinet now expects Netflix will get 82 million incremental subscriptions from the lower cost ad-enabled tier. So another 82 million subscribers. That's a big deal. That translates to 10.6 billion in incremental revenue, and that's better than the firm's earlier forecast of 66 million in September 2022. So wow, they predicted 66 million, and he thinks they're going to do 10.6 billion. Okay, that's a big jump. The ad tier costs $6.99 a month, making it $3 per month cheaper than the basic plan. Strong expectations for the ad tier pushed Bazinet to raise his target, even as the crackdown on account sharing without paying extra. The streaming giant's other big recent change is still expected to bring little upside to the stock. That's because the firm has believed a revenue decrease from consumers opting for lower cost plans with less simultaneous streaming as a result of the crackdown would offset any gains from people who actually paid to share an account. Okay. All right. So basically, it sounds like he's saying that the whole crackdown, if you remember, Netflix had their crackdown where they started saying you can't share your account anymore. We're going to start, sort of jumping on you if you're doing it too much. And so what happened was some people said, "Oh, well, screw you, I'm out of here." And then some people though said, "Okay, no problem. I've been getting over it for years, so I'm gonna go ahead and get my own account." And so as a result, Netflix has seen that it hasn't really hurt them that much. But he also believes that the addition of the new tier, the $6.99 tier, where you can pay $6.99 and just watch the ads, is going to be a positive catalyst. I think other positive catalysts for Netflix could be, I don't know how well their ad network is designed, if it's designed like Hulu. I know that right now, small businesses, if you have a small business, you can advertise on Hulu. You can run ads on Hulu. I think that's pretty cool. I suspect Netflix is going to do something similar. Right. I suspect they're going to set up an ad network similar to what you can do on Facebook, Google, and Hulu and all that. And I think that could be a positive catalyst for their revenue, too. I also wonder if they're ever going to do more with all those millions of subscribers than just show them movies. Like, I know that what they do with the movies takes a lot of money and a lot of time, but I can't help but feel that they can't go, kind of go Jeff Bezos with it. Jeff Bezos, the reason Amazon made so much money was because Bezos realized that when you have millions of subscribers who came to you to buy one thing, chances are they'll buy something else. Like if you have a bunch of people coming into your coffee shop to buy coffee, well, a lot of them are going to want coffee and a donut, or coffee, a donut, and a book, or coffee, a donut, and so a book and some gum, right? So you just offer them additional products, and then you would find that those same people would end up increasing your average revenue per customer. So I wonder if Netflix is ever going to figure that out. I assume they've already thought about that, but maybe they haven't. But if they haven't thought about it, I encourage you to think about that. I mean, a lot of you have thought about starting businesses at some point. I would encourage you. I would tell you this. If I was 19 years old again, I love having my PhD. It's really given me some tremendous economic gifts and intellectual gifts that I wouldn't trade for the world. But let me just say this. If I could go back in time, knowing then what I know now, I would probably, rather than get into PhD, I would just spend 2 years spending all my time in some sort of intense program that was going to make me the best entrepreneur I could possibly be. I believe that would have gotten me quicker to my goal at that stage, which was to make money, because I grew up poor and broke and I didn't have no money. So I needed to make money. So I thought that the only way to make money was to go to school for 1,000 years. But whereas I look back and I'm like, no, I didn't actually have to do that. I just didn't have anybody to expose me to that line of thinking. So what I'm asking you to do right now is I need you to go make sure that your children are not put in the same trap that you and I were put in, where we were only given one way to skin that cat. Make sure that they know all the different options. And one of the policy points, I believe, amongst intelligent Black people is that every Black child on this planet should learn how to start their own business at an early age. Because if your child could get one product, just one product, it might be some makeup, it might be doing hair. Our middle child does lashes for people and stuff like that. One product that people want and they can deliver it well, they will make more money selling that one product than they could ever make from having even the best jobs that are out here. Seriously, I know 16-year-old kids from the Black Business School who make more money than their parents. I know 15-year-old kids who are literally clocking $250,000 a year selling one product. So teach your child to get in position where they can sell one thing to somebody who needs it, and people will give them $20, $50 a pop and not even think twice about it. They get 1,000 customers that give them $50 each. Next thing you know, your kid got 50 grand in the bank and you don't even know how they did it. They said taking suckers out and you don't know how I did it. That's the wealth hack. That's the move. That's the play. I encourage you to consider that. I encourage you to show this to your family if this is something that is of interest to you. Okay, guys. So anyway, if you could please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. Also, remember this podcast is on Spotify. And I want to remind everybody that if you want to get text notifications of when we go live, just text the word Boyce to 31996. Text Boyce to 31996. And I hope you'll also allow me to remind you that the All Black National Convention is happening October 20th. We have a ton of experts aligned for the convention this year in all areas from therapy to medicine to investing to real estate to estate planning to all kinds. I mean, you name it, we got it. We got health experts. We got all kinds of people coming because we want to create the greatest Black think tank on the entire planet. We want to create a family reunion atmosphere. Victory Boyd with Rock Nation and her family, they're coming back this year. Y'all loved Victory Boyd's family. Not only are they entertaining at the highest levels, I mean, Victory sang for Jay-Z. Jay-Z signed her on the spot. That's how talented she is. And her two sisters are just as talented as she is. Like they're literally, if they literally could be Destiny's Child if they were willing to show ass in order to get attention. But these are not how these women are built. These women actually are successful because of their talent, not because of their showing off and trying to rap about their WAP, right? Or crazy stuff like that. They're not into that stuff. They maintain their values and they succeeded at the highest levels despite that. On top of that, they have a great family business. Their father is the patriarch, the leader of the family, and he's pulled them together, and they are so good. So they're going to come back this year. If you haven't seen them, you got to see them. They're going to just be amazing. Somebody said, do you do Essence? My wife and I thought about going down to the Essence Music Fest. We might go down there and check it out. Last time I was down there was right before Katrina, believe it or not. It was a long time ago. So I need to go back again because I did actually enjoy the Essence. But I'm telling you guys, this is better than Essence or anything else because what the convention shows is that Black people can have dignity, class, and self-respect and still have fun, still learn, still connect, and still grow. The energy is incredibly positive. So if you'd like to learn more about the convention, or if you have a business and you'd like to be a sponsor, and we will promote you heavily if you are a sponsor or if you are a vendor, just go to allblacknationalconvention.com. All those opportunities are there. We'll take good care of you. You're going to love it. I guarantee it. So anyway, guys, have a good day. God bless you. Thank you so much for listening. And I'll check back in with you a little bit later if I see anything interesting happening in the market. I do updates all day long. So take care. I'll see you soon. Peace.